Jesus said, don't be worrying about when I'm coming back. Don't be worrying about all the little details of this, that, and the other. You have experienced me. You have seen me. You have walked with me. You have listened to me. Now I need you to go tell everybody. The purpose of you and of me in this world is to know God and to make him known. I was looking at some research this week, and Lifeway Research had this, and it said, in the past 6 months, how many times did you share with someone how to become a Christian? And among those who were asked this question, 55% of Protestant churchgoers said 0 times. I have not shared my faith one single time in the last 6 months. 24% said they had shared 1 to 2 times, 12% 3 to 5 times, and 5% said they had shared 6 to 10 times. And I got to thinking about that. And I got to thinking about the fact that over half of the people who claim to know Jesus said, well, I haven't told anybody about him in the last 6 months. And there's a good chance if they haven't told anybody about him in the last 6 months, they didn't tell anybody about him the 6 months before that either. So we're saying over half of the people who claim to follow Jesus don't ever talk to somebody else about their faith. I'm going to be honest with you. If you're not sharing the greatest thing that ever happened to you in your life, you better check yourself. Because the truth of the matter is, if we're not talking to other people about the fact that we were dead and we're now alive in Jesus Christ, then we better make sure we're actually alive in Jesus Christ. You see, I feel like a lot of people that claim to be Christians, a lot of people that go to church, the question has to be asked still, has there truly been a change in their life to bring them from being dead in their sin to alive in Jesus Christ? You see, what we're talking about this morning, and kind of the title is, if you're saved, you're sent. If you're saved, you're sent. And if you aren't living sent, you have to make sure you're saved. And what is that? That is the fact that Jesus Christ came from heaven and he lived a perfect life and he died on a cross and he rose from the dead for you and for me. God himself stepped out of heaven in the person of Jesus Christ so that we could be reconciled to the Father. And if you have not experienced that in your life, if you have not surrendered your life to the call of Jesus Christ, then today is the day you need to do that. But what I want to do is I want to get into this part about being sent, because today I'm talking to the church. I'm talking to people who are here that claim to know Jesus. So I want to talk to you about what it is that Jesus has called you to do. So what we see here in verse 3, it says that he showed himself and he showed signs and he did different things with the disciples and with his followers for 40 days after being resurrected from the dead. And then he told them, he said, this is what I want you to do. After I leave, I want you to go back to Jerusalem and I want you to wait, because the Holy Spirit is coming. The power to do what it is that I'm calling you to do is on its way, and I need you to go and wait for it. It will be there. And then they asked him a question. They said, okay, when are you going to restore the kingdom? And Jesus said, we got to quit worrying about stuff like that. We got to quit worrying about when this is going to happen or when Jesus is going to come back or when Jesus is going to restore this. I have something that I want you to do, and I want you to be focused on this thing. And this is what he said. When the Holy Spirit has come on you, this is in verse 8, you will be my witnesses in Jerusalem and in all Judea and Samaria and to the end of the earth. So Jesus said, don't be worrying about when I'm coming back. Don't be worrying about all the little details of this, that, and the other. You have experienced me. You have seen me. You have walked with me. You have listened to me. Now I need you to go tell everybody else. It's all that matters. You see, this Christian life, The purpose of you and of me in this world is to know God and to make him known. Everything else is secondary. We know God and we make him known. And what Jesus is saying to the disciples here, to his followers here is, you know me, you have experienced me, now I need you to go tell everybody else. And what we see in the book of Acts is how that started. It started with the 12, or 11, I guess, and then his followers there, and then it spread. So he's probably in this moment, he's probably got his followers with him. At least the 11 are here with him when he is giving them this. But what we see from Acts and what we see from the church is that this didn't stop with 11 people. This was every follower of Jesus. And these followers were not just flippant followers. These were people who were probably going to die in order to share Jesus with the world. And so what I want us to see is that Jesus has given this same commission to every single one of us in this room that claims to follow Jesus. He said, you'll be my witnesses in Jerusalem, Judea, Samaria, and to the ends of the earth. So obviously this is in a context here that he was telling them this. But how can we take this context, understanding this context, and apply it to our current context? You see, I think we're also called to Jerusalem, Samaria, Judea, Samaria, and the ends of the earth. But what is your Jerusalem? That's the question this morning you got to start with. You got to start with, what is my Jerusalem? It's where you live. It starts at home. Moms, dads. It starts at home. Are you discipling your children? Are you testifying to your children about what Jesus has done? Can they see in your life that Jesus has changed you? Because it starts at home. You see, I see people all the time, and I take teams to Guatemala. We do mission work in Guatemala, and I'll talk to people all the time like, man, I cannot wait to get to Guatemala so I can share my testimony and tell people about Jesus. That's awesome. That is an awesome thing to do. But my first question has to be, why are you waiting until you get to Guatemala to tell people about Jesus? You see, we have our own kids that we need to tell about Jesus. We have parents that we need to tell about Jesus. We have grandparents that we need to tell about Jesus. You see, so you got Jerusalem, Judea. So what's your Judea? So let's go from home and let's move out a little bit. So I've always called Jerusalem the people you're closest to. And then you move out from there. What about the grocery store? You ever have to just stand in line at the grocery store and you got people behind you and in front of you? In that awkward moment where you're like, hi, I'm just standing here waiting. What can you do to be a light to that person? What can you do? I met a guy about a year and a half ago. I was with my girls in Rogers, and we stopped to get gas. And there was a guy on the other side of the pump, and I just kind of said hi to him, and all of a sudden he said, hey, do you happen to have $10 to get me some gas so I can get from this place to the next place? And I don't have much money, but I felt the prompting of the Holy Spirit in that moment. And so I walked around and I stuck my card in there and I just started filling up his car. And as I was filling up his car, I started talking to him about Jesus. Because he said, thank you, man, God bless. And I said, God bless you too. I said, and I want you to know the reason I'm doing this is because of God. It's because I feel like God is leading me to do this. So what moments, I guess what I want you to see with that is not something special that I did, but what I want you to see is that if you have the Holy Spirit inside of you, he will prompt you in those moments, and you need to say yes. Step into the moment, and you never know what kind of conversation you're going to be able to have.